Not from nothing, not by error, not in blindness, but by the cosmic potentiality. In his paper, Three Levels of Emergent Phenomena, biologist Terence Deacon writes about the evolution of life. Creating something from nothing is an important part of what the universe is about, and some of the most intriguing examples of these curious processes are what define us as living thinking beings. Right. Often when we think about the nature of this world, we come up with this idea that are so fascinating that they take our mind in their grip, right? The idea that complex forms of the life come out of the nothing is such an idea. The idea that the complex form of life come out of nothing is such an idea. If you think about it, the Darwinian system of thought makes sense. Species obviously change. Their changes seem random, meaning that they aren't driven by the purpose of a designer. Moreover, in the variation of species, the visible order emerges out of nothing that we can see. Accordingly, it makes sense that a biologist describes the process of copying genes as blind and mutation as errors. Right. Here again, when we step down to the molecular level, the atmospheric description of the things comes to the sudden halt. Nobody can deny that we are chemical reactors. At every moment, your life is based on the chemical properties of the molecules in your cells. So if you claim that the living chemical reactors will evolve new structures out of nothing, you must find the molecular basis for this process. That is, you must find the mechanism by which molecules create new forms out of nothing. But there is no such mechanism because molecules are quantum systems, right? As we saw in the chapter 2, all that molecules can do is jump from an occupied state to an empty state, right? Virtual state to the excited states to the steady state, right? It can't jump into nothing. The restructuring of a DNA molecule, for example, can be understood as the actualization of one of its virtual states. It is true that when several atoms or molecules interact, new states will emerge in an interaction that don't exist in the isolated atoms or molecules, right? But these new states too don't come out of nothing. They emerge in a predictable way out of their interacting potentialities of the individual atom or molecules. Let me repeat it again. They emerge in a predictable way out of the interacting potentialities of the individual atoms or molecules. Hydrogen molecules, for example, isn't created out of nothing, but it is an actualization of a visual state that belongs to the potentialities of interacting hydrogen atoms. Right. The same principle applies to the emergences of all new structures in a living organism. We can bring these considerations to a short form. Chemical system can form new structures not out of nothing, but out of the interacting potentialities of their components. Right.
Now, soon-to-be first daughter Ashley Biden sat down with NBC's Jenna Bush Hager, a former first daughter herself, of course.
Ashley opened up about the wild election night with her father, wild, and more inside details of the Biden family. That is coming up next.
From the time of the Celts to the Middle Ages, the inhabitants of northern Spain believed that the westernmost point of Europe, westernmost point of Europe, a cape in the Atlantic Ocean, was the end of the world. So they called it a Cape of the End of the World, or Cabo Fistera in the Galilean language. It was a general knowledge that if you sailed west of that cape, after some time you would abruptly fall off the edge of the earth and into nothing. Creating something out of nothing implies that such a cape exists in the world of molecules, as if when two molecules react, they proceed to state Fistera, from which they drop into nothing, and in the process a new life form emerges. But dropping off the deep end isn't a degree of freedom that the molecules have. There is no Cabo Fistera in the chemical reactions. How often when something unexpected happened to you, did you say something like, that came out of the blue, like out of nothing? By reacting in this way, you didn't really mean blue and nothing. You meant an unexpected event came out of something, but you didn't know what that was. In the same way, we must understand that the complex order in the biosphere comes out of the realm of reality that we don't really know. That is the cosmic potentiality. This is such an important aspect of the biological evolution that we should put into the form of a general principle. The complex order of the biosphere appears in the actualization of a virtual order that already exists in the cosmic potentiality before it an empirical order. Virtual State Actualization (VSA) Virtual State Actualization (VSA) is a mechanism by which a new order evolves in the world. If you think about it, the principle applies to everything, not only life. Related to the concept of the evolution from the nothing is the view that life evolves in an accumulation of errors. In his paper, The Unknowable and Free Will as a Religious Obligation, biologist Robert Pollack writes, Facts from the science tell us that our species, with all our appreciation of ourselves as unique individuals, is not the creation of design, but the result of accumulated errors. Wow. Here again, the anthropomorphic view has great appeal, and again, the molecular level will spoil the fun. It is a delightful thought that the complex system come into being because someone or something doesn't watch out and make an error. But in the emergence of the complex order by VSA, virtual state actualization, the concept of the error doesn't occur. It only seems that errors are made because the quantum processes are indeterminate. When a specific stretch of the DNA is copied and the copy turns out different from the original, there are no flaws, no faults. The system simply actualized a state that was available to it. Quantum entities don't think about getting things right. They just populate quantum states. The appeal to nothing and error shows how the classical perspective can give the process of evolution a twist that it doesn't really have. The same has to be said that Jacques Monod's description of the genetic processes in terms of chance and necessity. The concept of necessity is completely off the mark. In the synthesis of a single gene molecule, there is no necessity. All molecular syntheses are quantum processes, and the outcome of the synthesis of the specific molecule is inherently unpredictable, right? Many outcomes are usually possible with different probabilities that depends on the waveforms of the states involved. Thus, in a very basic sense, the unit of natural selection and stretches of the chromosomes, but the waveforms of the quantum states that actualize in the chromosomes. Wow! Life forms are correlated with the quantum waveforms, right? So, not from nothing, not by error, and not in the blindness, but by VSA, the virtual state actualization. When the monad uses the concept of the blindness in the connection with the evolution, again he misses the point. A totally blind process, he writes, can by definition lead to anything. It can even lead to the vision itself. No, it can't. No process, blind or seeing, can arbitrarily lead to anything. It can lead only to the something that is already contained in the cosmic potentiality. If visions weren't part of it, we wouldn't see a thing. This may be a reason why the evolution has led to mythical monsters, such as griffons or basilisks or humans with wings. Cosmic virtual state don't exist for such beasts. Do you realize what a boost of your biological fitness it would be if you had wings and could cross the street when the traffic light was red because you could simply fly to the other side? Okay, fair enough.
Now, Capitol tours have actually ceased because of coronavirus. Some Democrats have alleged that a GOP colleague gave a, quote, reconnaissance tour of the Capitol the day before the mob swarmed the